At one point in professional wrestling, the pay-per-view poster was a vital component to promoting upcoming television events. Want to convince a potential customer to spend $29.95 on your show? Then you better whip up something that lures them into the product. Maybe showcase a matchup or a top star. But with so many events month in and month out, year after year, it's no surprise that some of these can get outright bizarre. These aren't always bad, because sometimes weird is by design, but on the flip side, sometimes weird is, it's bad. Today we're going to explore the weirdest pay-per-view posters of WCW, 10 of them to be exact. So, let's kick this off. We'll start with SLAMBOREE 1997, a solid pay-per-view event from what might be the greatest year in WCW's history. This one features Lex Luger in some sort of submission hold, possibly, maybe? I don't know, it's really hard to determine what exactly is happening here. I can see the legs, rear end, and a single arm and hand of another wrestler, but that's pretty much it. He's essentially decapitated. It kind of looks like Luger's getting like an ultimate wet willy here. But what makes things even more goofy is the fact that Lex wasn't on the card for this one. But maybe the mystery opponent in this picture was. Who knows? I don't know, because I don't know who it is. This one really isn't bad at first glance, it's kind of clean, but it's just weird enough to make the 10 spot. Ah yes. Remember that time that Goldberg went into space for that STARRCADE 1998 photo shoot? Cool. They did check most of the boxes here. Promotion's biggest star, his tagline, clear and present logos for the event and promotion, but it still all feels a bit goofy. I mean, I get it, anybody on Earth could be next, but maybe they could have gone about it a little differently. In fact, you know what, hold on, give me a second. There. Okay, here we go. I whipped this thing up in like, I don't know, 20 minutes. Same concept, theming, all that, just... okay, well, maybe it's not a whole lot better, but I'm also not a professional that gets paid to make these things. Either way, a crazed Goldberg lost in space, yeah, it's weird. This one is the perfect example of how some of these weird designs can be absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at this. The Steiners are over here just destroying the San Francisco skyline, Bagwell's foot just broke off one of the Bay Bridge's towers, and this water looks like it was plucked straight from a late 90s sci-fi computer wallpaper. And it totally gives me San Francisco Rush vibes, which coincidentally dropped right around the same time. WWF would feature a similar design for SummerSlam 98, setting the bar for how this should be done. But the sheer corniness of this one will keep it alive in my headspace for the foreseeable future. Okay, now, this one, it's borderline legendary. Why have wrestlers featured on your poster when you can have the likes of Mean Gene and Bobby Heenan? But seriously, Chef Okerlund with the WCW-shaped meat patties, the Brain in his summer's best outfit about to light himself on fire, and I like how the perspective and proportions are all off, like Heenan was shrunken down or something. Keep in mind, professionals got paid for this level of accuracy. This is another one of those so bad that it's absolutely great type of designs, and WWE needs to make this into a t-shirt ASAP. So, what's going on here? There's nothing they won't do to hold the gold. Okay, so Booker's hanging on to the title. Maybe he's riding it into outer space? Maybe he's looking for Goldberg out there? Is that even Booker T? Because while, yes, he's on the card, he was in a seemingly meaningless match early in the show, so who knows? They do have the tagline, "It's out there," so that's sort of fitting here, but I don't know, this one makes me feel slightly uncomfortable and I don't know why. I'll start by saying I actually really like this one, but that doesn't mean it isn't weird. It's mostly the art style, and I really don't want to disrespect the artist that whipped this one up, but it's just a little goofy looking. I mean, like, yeah, Flair looks pretty funny, but who is this? I think it's supposed to be Sid, but honestly it looks more like 2004 era Mark Henry than it does Sid. And then there's the close-up shot of Sting up top, which sort of looks like they just snapped a quick pic of a Sting action figure. I have to say though, that lightning, yes, freaking awesome. And this has to be one of the coolest logos in wrestling history right here. Nevertheless, for the reasons stated above, I had to include this one. Ah yes, SLAMBOREE 2000. You probably knew this one was coming. I sort of feel like this one should be in the top 3 because, well, just look. We've seen plenty of these close-up single-person event posters in the past, and sometimes they work, but this one just manages to be extra super cringy. Reminds me of a George Michael album cover or something. And are those like kissy lips or pouty lips? You know, another thing that always strikes me as odd is that a lot of the featured stars on these posters aren't even the main focal point of the events. Like here, Buff was beat by Luger in 9 minutes, like halfway into the card. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pretty big Buff Bagwell fan, but this one is still just really weird. Now here's one you don't want to show the kiddos before bed. So we got the hair of Flair, the eyes of Sting, which I should point out they mirrored down the center for some reason. In fact, let's go see if we can find that picture. Yeah, I think that's it right there. That's what it's supposed to look like. And by doing this little mirrored effect, they consequently made him cockeyed. So he's looking in 2 different directions. The mouth of one of the Nasty Boys, I'm guessing. And looks like that's the chin of Vader. It's just a bit frightening, to be honest, but I will say that this should grab your attention upon first glance, which is the point of an advertisement. Sort of reminds me of that creepy picture for the Invasion pay-per-view. Ugh. We've touched on this one before during an episode of Arena Showcase, but Spring Stampede 1998 would feature a flyer that, well, it doesn't have anything to do with wrestling. Yeah, sure, we've seen examples of this in the past, like Royal Rumble 1995, but that one at least featured some small pictures of wrestling-related stuff, and the Royal Rumble branding is pretty large and prominent, but here it's just not really done well. The biggest, the baddest, no bull. And as you can see, the bull is crossed out. But I mean, if you didn't recognize the WCW logo here, it would be really easy to think that this was just a flyer for a rodeo or something. And drum roll, please. Coming in at the number 1 spot for weirdest WCW pay-per-view poster is 1999's Halloween Havoc. Because this one is just, I hate everything about it. So I've seen this one many times through the years, but I've never actually stopped to study it until today. Truth is, I don't like looking at it. I always thought that this was just some random creature they created, looking like something out of the Jim Carrey Grinch movie, but it appears upon further examination that this is actually Goldberg, who seems to be morphing into some sort of cat or bat, maybe a vampire, or even one of those creepy monkeys with the fangs. I don't know what it is, and that's honestly not really important because this is just not good. It's not. Halloween Havoc had some pretty awesome promotional material in the past, and honestly, even the poster from the next year's event is less bizarre than this one. And I think it's the weirdest poster in the history of the promotion. But what do you think? Are there any that I missed? Would you rank these differently? Do you like lasagna? Wait, never mind, that has nothing to do with this. Let me know, drop a like, and subscribe for more top 10 videos. Until the next one, I am going to unleash my inner beast like Goldberg and maybe head into outer space and eventually, hopefully, return to Earth.